Right, welcome back to Main Irish Angling. Now, I'm in store, I'm having a look at some of the range of Predator Fox gear that they are stocking. It's December, as I said, that this video is being made, so that means we're still in winter and we are going to be for another 4 months at least. And that means only one thing for me, and that's pike fishing. Now, in the last video, we looked at how to set up your system by keeping bank sticks employed and keeping bobbins and bite alarms and that, and to do it cheaply. We're going to look at another sort of system of bite indication that's very popular for piking, and that is floats. Now, a lot of people use floats, but there's a myriad of floats out there, and it's kind of always, which one do I use? Well, I suppose, you know, starting off with a very basic float, we have the Fox live bait slider, and that's €2.93. Under €3, as I said. It's a lot of the Fox range here is very, very affordable. Live bait slider, yes, we don't live bait in Ireland, but you know what? You can still use these. They're very, very buoyant, and they're designed not to bob under too much with a lively bait in tow. But you know what? You can still use these for dead bait, and you can still use these for sort of float ledgering or anything like that. One of the sort of new kids on the block of floats are the ball bobs, and this is retailing for $3.49. These are brilliant on canals, short distance work where you're not really pushing a bait out too far, because they're not exactly the most aerodynamic, but they're very buoyant, and they are great in a good wave because these keep the bait moving underneath in a good wave. Very good for suspending very heavy baits. Another one is the high visibility dart. This is $3.49 also. High visibility dart looks like a dart on top that you would throw a board, and what that does, that vane is designed to catch wind and move. So if you want to cover a little bit of an area, then that's a great way to do it. Also, you know, at distance, if you're fishing a good bit of distance out where, you know, especially even if you're trotting on a river, the high visibility dart makes it stands up and you get great visibility on it, i.e., you know, I mean, it's called a high visibility dart anyway, and that's exactly what it is. So if you're, you know, sort of pushing it out a little bit further than a normal float and you really want to keep your eye on it, you know, that's the one to employ. They now have a new one out, which is called the fluted slider, and this is $3.60 in price. Again, if you want minimum resistance, so if you've got very cagey pike that are picking up and mouthing a bait and then spitting it, I'm not really going for it, so you're getting a lot of drop runs. The fluted float will allow it actually sink below the surface and have less resistance than any of the other floats. So it's a good one if you're on a cagey water where you know the fish are very, very tentative with their takes. So the last two floats we're going to look at are the dead bait pencils. One's a loaded lift dead bait pencil, and the other one is the normal standard dead bait pencil. And the idea being that, you know, you use this for, you know, a normal standard bottom rig. What I'd use this one is for when you want to use the lift method, you know, where you have it sort of set over depth and a little bit of lead on the bottom that's fixed, so that when the pike picks up, a little bit similar to the lift method on a normal float, it'll lift up and the float will then pop up out of the water and sit flat every time you get a take. Whereas this one has the potential to slide away underneath the water. And again, because it's a pencil thin float, it's minimum resistance, and yet there's enough foam in the float itself to actually keep it buoyant. Now, the last float that we're going to look at today is the System Drifter float. Now, I have actually used these extensively. I used the old Eddie Turner version years ago, and I have used the Fox version. Fox version is streets ahead of the Eddie Turner version, the ET products that we used. It comes with a very high visibility vane. Now, it's not just a case of lashing this out. You have to put a lot of thought into this. Minimum rod you're going to need is a 13-footer. You need a heavy test curve rod of probably a 2.5, 275, maybe a 3.5 pound test curve rod. 13 foot is so that you can get the line pick up along the water, because you're going to be fishing this out at distance. You're also going to have to use a floating braid with this. In the old days, we didn't have the floating braid. We used a greaser and we packed it with grease. into the last plug, the butt ring, and we used to let the line grease up as it went out, and it was a really poor method, and you used to have a lot of line going under the water. But the new floating braids, they're perfect for this, and it also means that at distance you will have direct contact. Now, I've had fish on these floater systems, drifter systems. I've had them over 250 meters away or 250 yards away. You know, I've had big doubles fishing with these, and they are a great way of covering a huge expanse of water. So if you're in the market for getting yourself a bait right out there and want to let the wind slowly manipulate your bait across the area, then definitely check out these. These are retailing at €8.51, well worth the look. They also have a number of spare veins, and they do come in different colours, but with all due respect, I mean, they come in black, yellow and orange. I've used mainly the orange, but on certain days, like if you've got a very calm, sunny day, the black will stand out, and you know, if you've got a lot of chop, sometimes the yellow stands out a little bit more. So you have to kind of adapt the float for the situation that you're fishing in. So that's a quick look at some other bite indicator methods for your pike fishing this season. As I said, you do need to have another backup system to your float. If you're using a float, you still need a drop-off bite indicator on your rod. Your rod needs to be on a rest, and it also then needs a bite alarm, because let's face it, as I said, piking can be a bit slow, and having a bite alarm will save you getting sort of worn out watching bobbins all the time. So this has been Main Irish Angling. We're just having another quick look at some bits and pieces for the piker, some more bite indication systems. I've been a long time angler. I've been buying my equipment for the last 30 years over in the UK or here in Ireland, and I can tell you, after being around the block a few times, I haven't found anywhere that's selling any equipment as cheap as Main Irish Angling. So if you're in the area, I suggest you come in and check them out. They have a lot of stock on site, and also they have their website, which you can buy online, which is mainirishangling.com. So we'll catch you in the next video.